Welcome to the Seatime page. From here, you'll be able to input your Seatime, and Assertive will perform handy calculations to make your life at sea much easier. To get started, add a ship to your logs. Press the green Add Ship button on your dashboard to open up the Add Ship form. Now this is pretty straightforward. Simply fill out the fields according to the ship you want to add. Here, I'll create a log for the QE2, and its type will be passenger. It's important to try and match your ship to one of these predefined categories here. If you think your ship doesn't fit into one of these categories, please contact us and we'll do our best to help. The flag here is Dubai, UAE. Carrying on, now fill out the rest of the form. If you're unsure about any of these measurements, usually you can find them by doing a quick Google search. Tonnage, and finally the kilowatt rating. And then press Create to create the ship. Now, if we switch over to Ship View, we can see that the QE2 has been created. Awesome. Now that we've created a ship, we can now add entries to the ship. To do this, simply click the blue Add Entry button on the dashboard to open up the Add Entry form. First, select the ship you want to add the entry to. Here, I'll pick the QE2, as we just created it. Now, the rank I was at the time of this entry, hypothetically here, second mate. Now, for the sign on and sign off date. Please note that Assertive will check to see if the time period you have entered overlaps with any of your other entries, and won't let you create any overlapping entries, as you can't be on two ships at once. So here, let's just say that I was on this ship for a year. Finally, the type. Here the type refers to the type of voyage. Were you in dry dock? Were you doing coastal navigation? Were you alongside? Etc. So here, I'll just put coastal. Then click Create to add the entry to the ship. Now, if we just search the vessel name, we can see here that our entry was successfully created. There are two ways you can view your Seatime logs. The first way to view your Seatime is through the Entry view, which simply lists all your entries for every ship in the table below. The Entry view gives a breakdown of your specific voyage and calculates the duration you were on board for. You can search for an entry by the vessel it belongs to. So here, we can search the Tindarius, and as we can see, all my entries belonging to the Tindarius show up. You can select entries to either edit or delete them, and you can select all entries in your current purview by clicking on the box in the table header. To reset the navigation here, we'll just deselect all the entries and clear our search. The second way to view your Seatime is using the Ship view, which you can navigate to using the tabs on the dashboard. Here, all your ships are shown as cards. Click on a card to view all the entries associated with a specific ship. Here, I'll pick the Tindarius. Now, notice how the tabs change, and I have the option to either edit the ship or delete the ship. Editing the ship will bring up an edit form where I'll be able to change the details of the ship, and to delete gives you the ability to delete the ship and all its associated entries. As we can see, all the Tindarius' entries are shown in the table, which I can filter by clicking on the table headers, much like on the certificates page. Say here, we can filter by signed on. This allows you to better understand your time on board a certain ship when you have a lot of entries. Simply press the close button on the top right hand of the card to go back to all your ships. If you work on rotation, you'll find it easier to use Assertive's Add Rotation functionality. Say you work a month on and a month off on a vessel. Instead of creating individual entries for all your rotations, use the Add Rotation function instead. To add a rotation, you must first be in Ship View. Then, select the vessel you wish to add the rotation to. Here, I'll pick the QE2. Notice here how the previous entry we created actually appears in the table. Now, click the Add Rotation button on the top right of the ship card to open the Add Rotation form. Please remember to select the correct vessel. So here, we'll pick the QE2, and now we fill out the form just as if we were adding an entry. So the rank you were during the rotations, so here I'll just put second mate, and the type of sea time during the rotation, which I'll just put coastal. Now we enter the first date of the rotation, which is the start date of your first rotation, and then the final day of the rotation, i.e. the final day of your last rotation. For the sake of this example, I'm just going to pick some dates far in the past so that none of our entries will intersect. So I'll just pick 1989, and let's say it was just a year. Now we come to entering the on-off cycle. First select whether your rotation was a weekly or a monthly cycle. So here, let's say that our cycle was 6 weeks on and 4 weeks off. We then click the Create button to create the rotation entries. Please note that Assertive will again check if the date of any of your rotations overlap with your other entries. If they do, Assertive will not let you create the rotations. But as we can see here, we haven't had that problem, and all our rotations have been added to the QE2. As you add new ships, and you add new entries to your ships, Assertive will calculate your total sea time, and will also give you a breakdown of your sea time by your rank and the type of ship you've been on. If you're still unsure of anything, you can find more detailed explanations in the tutorials provided below this video. Thanks for using Assertive.